Hasan Piker went mask off. Senators are calling him out. Zohran Mamdani just became the new mayor of New York City. Woohoo! Whoopee to everyone that doesn't like swastikas drawn on schools and of Jews and stuff like that. That happened already. So Hasan Piker went mask off.
Done.
What do you think it means that this guy ran as a socialist and anti-communism didn't work to stop him? That's big.
Yeah, I think we are in the heart of the imperial core. This is the country that defeated the USSR, unfortunately.
Unfortunately defeated the USSR. You are a radical communist. You need to be deported. Get out of my country. Ted Cruz says, this is what happens when you let communists win. And he's right. Bro, unfortunately defeated the USSR? Why are you here? So this dude hates communists, obviously. He hates them to such an insane degree. I mean, he hates capitalists. He hates billionaires. That's what the whole Zohran Mamdani campaign is about. That's what the Hasan campaign is about. Billionaires bad. But obviously, it didn't stop Zohran Mamdani from taking a very fat check and donation from Alex Soros, the son of George Soros, a billionaire. Obviously, that they didn't care about. Hasan Piker calling for communist revolution in America and the murder of senators. That's fine. Really glad we're on the same page. Hasan Piker also got mega humiliated. He tried to get into Zohran's party, but they didn't let him in.
I do not have you for the upstairs list.
Okay. I do not have you for the upstairs list. They refuse to let him into Zohran's party because they actually are probably trying to stay away from terrorists in general. They don't really want, they probably think that having dog abusers in the party is not actually a super good look. Now, Zohran Mamdani posted a video after winning the election in New York. This is the first video he posted.
Good morning, New York City. Thank you. Last night we made history, and today we begin the work of making a new administration. Welcome to the transition. This is the period over the next few months where we build a city hall that delivers on the promises of our campaign, to make New York City affordable and to make government accountable to the people it serves.
Whatever that means.
As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help implement our agenda.
Whatever this means.
People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government. And
none of them are going to be white.
Critical work of city agencies. These appointments will be driven by excellence, integrity, and hunger to solve old problems with new solutions. Talking to organizers on the front.
He's not giving any solutions.
With proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world.
All right, as a policy expert, communism never worked.
Deserve. And this will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency. Because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust.
Ha!
On January 1st, I will be your mayor.
Nice.
New Year's Day.
Nice.
And a new era.
It's gonna be awesome. It's
gonna
be great.
One more.
Get ready!
Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again.
That was the purpose of this entire video. He makes this video basically saying, we're going to do all the things that we promised. I'm not going to tell you how because I don't really know how, but we're going to hire all sorts of really good guys to do the things that we promised to do. I really need you to donate a lot of money because ultimately that's the only way we're actually going to give free money to the people and the illegals in our nation. Like, we need to give money to the illegals. That's what we promised. So we need you to give me the money to give that money to the illegals. That's communism, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to communism. Please donate the money, and if you don't, we will take it by force. Communism, ladies and gentlemen. New Palestine, also known as Neo New York, is definitely shaping up. Now, that is the first major update. Second major update. My community's yeshiva, a Jewish day school in Brooklyn, where I taught years ago, was vandalized on the night of Zohran Mamdani's victory, covered in swastikas all over it, all over the Jewish school. So obviously this is going super well. This is going really well. Zohran Mamdani, of course, decided to make some post. This is disgusting and heartbreaking act of anti-Semitism. It has no place in our beautiful city. As mayor, I will always stand steadfast with our Jewish neighbors to root out the scourge of anti-Semitism out of our city. Didn't Mamdani defend the phrase from the river to the sea and globalize the intifada? Grok, can you confirm? Yes, Zohran Mamdani has declined to condemn from the river to the sea and globalize the intifada. Thank you, Grok. Very cool. Imagine that they're going to start vandalizing Jewish schools and cover them with swastikas. Well, color me surprised and shocked. Arrgh, matey, I didn't see that coming whatsoever. Well, now that New York is becoming Neo-Palestine, I am really glad that we are on the cutting edge of society. Now, everyone, I have the hottest take of all time. We deserve this. We deserve this loss. We literally put up retards to fight against Zohran Mamdani. We are not solving the issue in society that people can't afford houses. And realistically, and most importantly, we didn't deport the motherfuckers that invaded our nation fast enough. I'm sorry, we absolutely did not. These people, he won the vote because they imported illegals. Those guys voted with no ID. And they managed to prop him up. All right, now we watch New York burn for our mistakes, and hopefully we learn from this for the future. Because I'll be real here, you have to recognize when you fuck up, we fucked up. This is a total us blunder. No doubt in my mind that this is us fucking up, and we have to learn from our mistakes. All right, God gives us challenges we can overcome. Anyway, I wanted to take a look at this debate. So Piers Morgan just had a whole panel on debating over the Zohran Mamdani. I have a lot of opinions, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely diabolical. So let's see what we actually have. All right, let's see what we actually have here. A big debate about if Zohran Mamdani is good or not between all the retards on all the sides. So lock in, boys and girls. It's going to be fun.
Donald Trump, turn the volume up.
If you told me 20 years ago that New York City would elect a mayor who is a Muslim guy, a terrorist sympathizer, who is anti-cop,
True.
I would laugh in your face.
Do you believe the NYPD is racist?
Yes! Oh, God.
no.
There it is.
Free buses, freeze them.
Oh, no! Bro got the woke stooges, bro. Bro, they got to put a burqa on the Statue of Liberty immediately.
Universal child care. All these policies are wildly popular.
All that cool
Dude, they're only popular because we have a retarded... Like, you have to understand the evil that we had to deal with. They imported illegals and non-Americans as an underclass of society to vote for this guy. He's an immigrant that was voted for by immigrants and by liberal white women who were radicalized by colleges with empathy for retards. And to make it worse, the politicians he was fighting against were all retarded. So this was like an actual disaster situation.
Who's gonna pay for it? Who's gonna pay for it? Venezuela, Cuba, Soviet Union. Give me an
Yeah,
example.
communism never worked.
And I'll come with you. I'm all in.
New York will remain a city of immigrants as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Basically, I hate white guys. We're conquering your nation. Sit down and enjoy.
Every American that's watching this, don't get it twisted.
Okay, Vinny.
The moment a Democrat comes into power, the border's wide open.
I think
He's right. He's completely right.
the loser last night isn't the Republican Party, it's actually the American people. You were entertained by 2020 and a little bit scared about 2024. 2028 is going to be
He's right.
like The Godfather 2.
He's right. 2028, it might be the last election, depending on which way it goes. Because the strategy is very obvious now. The strategy is go into power, open the borders, flood the country with illegals, have them vote, and never, ever have a nation ever again. That is the strategy, and it worked in New York, and they're going to try their best to make it countrywide. That's how they tried to steal the 2024 election. It's not even controversial at this point. They have no voter ID. The communists elect themselves.
For the first time in a long time, Democrats are waking up to that winning feeling. It's not quite a political earthquake, but it's definitely a sizable tremor. And the epicenter is right here in New York City, where I am at the moment. Zohran Mamdani is the newly minted mayor of America's biggest city. And the 34-year-old socialist wasted no time in aiming his firepower at President Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Remember when they told us to turn down the temperature? You remember that?
Well, Mayor Mamdani's socialist program is about to have an uncomfortable brush with reality. The jury is very much out.
That guy is your president, you insurrectionist bitch. Anyway, I'm excited to see where this goes. Hopefully, this radicalizes Trump a little bit and makes Trump actually start jailing criminals. Now, for the record, there's nothing wrong with hating Trump or anything like that. But if you are preventing ICE agents from deporting illegals, you need to go to jail.
On whether they can really deliver on government.
Sounds to me like this guy is fucking around, and you know what happens to people that fuck around.
Run grocery stores, free buses, and free childcare, among many other.
There's no such thing as free. Free is a scam. It's a fake word. All right. I'm just telling you this right now. Nothing is free. If it's free, it means either you're the product or someone else is paying for it. Nothing is free.
Lavish pledges. But the verdict on his campaigning
free means the taxpayers pay so that the illegals can get free rides. All right, that's what free means.
Style is resounding, and Democrats nationally will be taking notes. President Trump may call him a crazed communist, but he knows a canny operator when he sees one. Mamdani ran a populist campaign turbocharged by social media, which focused on massive changes to a failing status quo. It's all very familiar to the man currently in the White House. And Mamdani is the first prominent Democrat in what feels like an age to campaign on something other than calling Trump a demonic fascist. So has Mamdani cracked the code?
Unfortunately, I think he has cracked the code. That's why I think AOC is probably going to be the presidential nominee in 2028. I really think it's going to be her. At this point, if I had to pick one, my guess is it's going to be AOC. But the reality is, the left is completely giving in to the radical left. The radical left is absolutely taking over, like to a massive, massive extent. A massive extent. And you can't understate the fact that Zohran Mamdani was a radical leftist. He went up against a traditional leftist, Cuomo, and obliterated him. And it's becoming really obvious.
Democratic revival, or could his individual triumph drag the party down a far-left rabbit hole to electoral oblivion? Joining me to debate all this on a massive night in US politics is PBD podcast Angry Patriot, Vincent Ashana, the co-host of Her Take and former Democratic strategist Lindy Lee, the host of Bet News, Mark Lamont Hill, and the journalist at The Grey Zone, Aaron Marte. So a great panel. Let me start with you, Vinny. You must be absolutely delighted that a self-declared socialist is now in charge of New York City.
Piers, being originally from Yonkers, New York, it's overwhelmingly just happy. Piers, if you told me, Piers Morgan told Vincent Oshana 20 years ago that New York City...
Why are you mentioning 20 years ago? Is it because 9/11 happened around 20 years ago? By the fact that you bring this up, clearly you don't care about Zohran Mamdani's aunt, who was the biggest victim of the 9/11 terror attack.
Would elect a mayor who is a Muslim guy, who is a terrorist sympathizer, who is anti-cop, who literally took a photo with a co-conspirator of the first World Trade bombing, Piers, I would laugh in your face. But guess what? The joke is on me. And I'm telling you right now, Piers, it's almost as if The Dark Knight, the movie, Bane is there. Bane is going to be Mamdani. And you wait to see what he's going to do.
The orcs are in the Shire.
To the city. Okay, and Piers, let me back up a little bit. Shame on the Republicans, first and foremost.
True.
They couldn't pick one good, energetic, pro-American patriot to run.
Completely right. He's completely right.
Offense to Curtis Silva, but he's too old. He's too boring. All right, the campaign was horrible. Piers, and guess what? No American's going to vote for a guy with a red beret. I'm sorry. That's number one. Number two, Democrats. All they had was
Andrew Cuomo, a generational alleged sex offender. And, he was convicted, right?
To go against this guy, Piers, was a failed mayor, Eric Adams, who made it a sanctuary city, brought in all the illegals, crime went up, gave them money, gave them credit cards, put them in hotels, and then was like, whoops, I'm sorry I made a mistake. It was the Democrat leadership that made me do it. Cut to Andrew Cuomo, okay? Talk about a governor that failed. The alleged sex scandal, whatever you want to call it, and then he killed how many thousands?
Around 15,000 old people were killed in old age homes under his watch, allegedly.
Thousands of poor old grandmothers and grandfathers did he kill in New York?
And that was the competition. That's why I said, like we deserved this, man. You know? We deserved this.
And guess when he apologized, Piers? Not 2 years after, not 3 years, the day of the election. He goes, I'm sorry, I messed up. All right? Which is absolutely horseshit. And I'm sorry for my language, Piers, but New York is going to get a taste of their medicine. I hate to say it, Piers, but sometimes you got to let the kid touch the iron and let him burn himself until he learns his lesson, and they're going to learn their lesson in about 1 or 2 years. You'll see, Piers.
Yep. Facts.
Well, like I thought, you're jubilant about what's happened. Let me go to Aaron. You were making a few expressions there as Vinny was unleashing. I mean, from my point of view, it's very interesting because you've got results last night, which overall, a lot of wins for the Democrats, obviously, which is a good thing if you're a Democrat supporter. But two very distinct types of win. You've got the moderates winning, and then you've got Mamdani winning in New York, who's a self-declared socialist. These are very different pathways for the party to go. Many people feel that it's going to be problematic to have someone like Mamdani, who is incredibly charismatic, rapidly becoming the face of the party, but a bit like with AOC and the others on the left, in a general election, highly unlikely to succeed with that kind of agenda. What do you think?
I think the people of New York showed that Mamdani is in touch with the grassroots of the Democratic Party and the majority of the country. If you can get past the...
Mamdani literally won on the retard scale. No one that voted for Mamdani even knew what they were voting for. He literally just got the completely retarded college kids to vote for him that had no clue. Like, this is a brain dead take. Actual brain dead take. Insane. Like, you watch people interviewing the people that voted for Mamdani, you don't even know what they're voting for. They're just like, well, he's young and he's funny and he smiles and he likes immigrants. And that's it. He said free stuff and they voted for it. He got the empathy vote from 80% of young liberal white women. The Karenocracy did it. They collaborated with, for the record, 1.5 million Muslims in New York City that all voted. So no, this isn't grassroots Democrat at all.
Fear-mongering that we heard from Benny about Mamdani being a terrorist sympathizer and all the other smears.
He is a terrorist sympathizer. That's not fear-mongering. That's just the facts. It's just a fact. He literally said that suicide bombers should be treated like soldiers because it's a valid military action. Like, he supports Hamas. You know, the Hamas terrorists that started the war in Gaza. Like, he does all these. He is a terrorist supporter. Absolutely. He supported the terrorists that murdered the British soldier in England. There was a Muslim guy that just beheaded a British soldier on the street of England, and he praised him. He said it was valid military maneuver because England is an imperial state. Like, yeah, no, actually.
That are used to dismiss his progressive agenda. He's not. He's just someone who believes that Palestinians are equal human beings.
This has nothing to do with Palestinians. Nothing to do with Palestinians. Everyone likes making it everyone tries their best to do this. It's like, oh, you're only calling him a terrorist sympathizer because he likes Palestinians. It has absolutely nothing to do with Palestinians. If 9/11 happens and the first thing you say is that your aunt, Zohran Mamdani's aunt, got bad looks on the subway for her hijab, instead of mentioning the fact that 3,000 people were murdered on that day, like, nah, dude, I'm sorry. That's insane. That's absolutely insanity.
For people devoted to the state of Israel, they can't understand that concept.
Bro, it has nothing to do with Palestinians.
They're Jewish supremacists, so they've internalized Jewish supremacy. But
Jewish supremacists? Bro, who is this guy?
Everybody else understand that in this era of Democrats and Republicans supporting a genocide, supporting an assault on working people, someone like Mamdani is a reasonable alternative. Yes, he calls himself a democratic socialist. Look at his policies. They're incredibly moderate. He wants to establish free buses for working people. He wants to freeze the rent in rent stabilized apartments.
Who pays for the free buses? I mean, someone has to pay the bus driver, right? Someone has to pay for the bus. Someone has to pay for the gas. Who's paying for all that? It's a free bus, right? So who's paying for all that? Mr. Moderate. What are you talking about? Like he wants to freeze the rent. You realize freezing the rent means that the landlords are never going to actually fix any of the apartments, right? Like, you do realize that in freezing the rent doesn't actually help. Freezing the rent just means the landlord's not going to do anything.
Wants to provide universal child care. All these policies are wildly popular.
Universal child care means that someone's paying for it.
But the difference is, and what's
you know who's paying for it? White people, because he wants to tax white neighborhoods higher than black neighborhoods.
Radical about him is that he's centering working people. He's talking about issues that actually impact average people's lives. Donald Trump promised to do all the things that Mamdani has talked about, but he hasn't. He's just delivered for his billionaire backers and the cabinet.
His billionaire backers. Meanwhile, Zohran Mamdani got $40 million from George Soros. These people, you are such a fraud. I don't know who this guy is, but this is unbelievable.
That backs them up. So Mamdani, unlike everybody else pretty much in U.S. politics, with some exception, is actually speaking to average people's needs, including on the issue of Israel-Palestine, where people were just fed up with both parties supporting genocide in Gaza.
Okay, Mark Lamont Hill.
If you don't mind me, Piers, can I just...
Dude, what does electing a mayor of New York have to do with genocide in Gaza? Not that there's a genocide in Gaza, but what are we even talking about? There's a genocide happening, therefore we're electing a radical Islamist terrorist-supporting communist in New York City to be the mayor? Do you realize how retarded this is? What are we even talking about?
Okay.
Can I just say one thing?
Quickly.
Aaron, did he not take a photo with the co-conspirator of the first World Trade bombing? Did he not take a photo with that? Hold on, smiling, and I'm pretty sure you didn't say anything. And all that stuff that you said, all that cool free
I'll
stuff.
Respond. Yes.
Who's gonna pay for it? who is going to pay for it? I'm just curious. By the way, and show me one time that this has worked. Venezuela, Cuba, Soviet Union. Give me an example. Give me a case study. And hold on. Don't smile. I'll come with you. I'm all in. Show me when it worked, and I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Go ahead. Give it to me.
To answer your questions in order, in the course of campaigning, where candidates take pictures with literally thousands of people, he appeared in one photo with someone who was identified.
You have got to be shitting me. He went to that guy, Saraj Wahaj, or whatever his name is. He went to that guy's mosque to take a picture with him in his mosque. It was not an accident that he bumped into him on the street and didn't recognize him. That's one. Two, he did collabs with Hasan Piker, the America Deserved 9/11 guy, the guy that openly supports Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, the guy that openly says you should kill Senator Rick Scott. Like, what are you talking about?
As an unindicted co-conspirator in a bomb he was never even charged for. So yes, people take photo ops all the time.
Yeah.
Andrew, excuse me.
Unindicted meaning what? He was in the room.
Excuse me.
Give me a break, bro.
I'm answering your question.
That's not what that means.
Andrew Cuomo has taken pictures with actual war criminals, unlike Zohran Mamdani, who rejects the endorsement. In terms of how he's going to pay for it, he's already said he's going to tax the ultra wealthy a little bit more.
It's literally not just the ultra wealthy. He wants to tax everyone that has more than $1 million, 52%. And he wants to aim specifically at white neighborhoods.
Make all the money in the world. That's who he's going to pay for his popular social programs. He's not proposing anything like we've seen in Cuba.
He literally just wants the people that work to pay for the social programs for the people that don't work. He just literally wants to funnel people from the native, white American guys that lived in America for generations, and he wants to take their money and give it, or Jewish Americans, they're also counted as white neighborhoods in this regard. Jews are funny because, like, on the right they're not considered white, but on the left they are considered white. So it's Jews and white people that essentially are the richest people in New York, and they want to basically take money from them and give it to the illegal immigrants and the Muslims. It's actually pretty obvious if you think about it.
And guess who's leaving? Guess who the mass exodus is going to be? Guess who the mass... And just out of curiosity, they're going to leave. Hold on, you know what? You're not...
I actually spoke to my grandfather about this. My grandfather, he lives in New York. He's a Holocaust survivor. He's 100 years old. I love him so much. He's a wonderful man. So I spoke to him about Zohran Mamdani, his new mayor. I said, well, what do you think? And he said, I survived Hitler. We'll make it through a Zohran Mamdani. Dude, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I love him, man. He literally told me that today. Insane, bro.
Talking about who is going to come to New York. Who's going to come to New York? He wants to let people out of prisons. Okay, think about it. He wants to give away free stuff. Hold on, and he's pro-illegal. What the hell's going to happen to New York?
He's completely right. It's insane. He got one right-wing guy and 3 leftoids. Pierce Morgan, what are you doing?
You're missing the whole point.
People like you. Okay, Benny, listen. People like you want to give away free stuff to foreign governments like Israel to slaughter innocent civilians.
Why do you put words in people's mouths? No one supports giving infinite money to foreign nations. Okay, that's a government thing. The government does that shtick. All right, look. I'm Jewish. I think what Israel is doing is largely justified in many aspects. Obviously, they went really hard, but, they wanted to get their people back while they were literally there. I don't support the foreign aid, all right? You have to understand the insanity here. No, I don't support the giving infinite money to countries around the world, even though that I think Israel fighting a war that the other guy started in order to get their people back is justified. All right? That's my stance. I think what Israel wanted to get their hostages back in a war that was started by people that tried to eradicate them is valid. That said, I don't want to send the infinite foreign aid. I really hate that. And that's everywhere. So no, you've got to stop.
When have I ever said I'm pro-Israel? When have I ever said that?
Listen,
don't put words in my mouth.
By adopting
I pray for the innocent women and children of Palestine. Don't put words in my mouth, because Aaron, you don't know me, but I know this spiel. And you had to bring up Donald Trump. You always, and this is the problem, Pierce, why these people have no leaders, no vision, no message, because for 8 years, you've been saying Trump, Trump, and when the dust settles, you have nobody.
I mean, to be fair, Trump did win 3 elections,
Time out, guys, time out. I want to bring in, we've got 2 other panel members. I want to bring them in. Martin Lamont Hill, here are the things about Mamdani, which I like. He's very charismatic. He's got a very clear identity, I think, about what he stands for. He's an unashamed.
Yup. Yep, we know what he stands for, all right. Yep, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Radical jihadist, Islamist, socialist. Yep, we know. You know, he got an endorsement from ISIS. Did you know that ISIS released an endorsement for Zohran Mamdani? Did you know that Hamas congratulated him on his victory? Did you know that?
Socialist, so he just says, this is what I am. Something admirable about someone who says, these are my political colors. That's fine. I may not agree with him.
Yep, it's true. I showed that in my previous video. You can watch my last Zohran video.
He's an Arsenal fan, a very big Arsenal fan. He's been talking about it this morning. So he's clearly got immaculate taste when it comes to his football teams. But here's the issue, isn't it, Mark? For the party, I think it's if he turns out to be a massive success in New York.
He's an asshole fan? Is that what he said? I thought I heard that too, and then I saw people in my chat saying, is that what he said? He's an asshole fan because he's gay? Well,
hallelujah. He might be the guy who ends up becoming the president, right? And the Democrat superstar. Here he is now in charge of the biggest city in the country on a very socialist agenda of giving all this stuff away. We've kind of seen a parallel for this in the UK with the
Bro, if Zohran Mamdani becomes the president of the United States, I am self-deporting. I'm just saying.
Labour government who got swept in over a year ago with a massive majority, and it's already crumbling at the seams. They're about to launch a massive tax raid on pretty much everybody. They're incredibly unpopular, and it's all gone pear-shaped very, very quickly. If that happens with Mamdani in New York, conversely, it becomes a referendum on the Democrats that their big star turned out to be, you know, a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yep.
When was the last seafood? You can.
I mean, I believe wolf in sheep's clothing.
For sponsoring this episode.
Wow, that wolf in sheep's clothing would be a bit of a leap, even if he were somehow not successful. But I think that
no, wolf in sheep's clothing I think is an incredibly apt description. I mean, can I predict something for you? I predict that in 4 years, by the end of his term, the rate of rape in New York will double, at least. That's my prediction. All right? That's my prediction. The rape rate will be more than double by the end of his term.
There are a few issues on the table here. One, we continue to call him a socialist. And I think it's important to reiterate that he identifies as a democratic socialist, right? And there are different types of socialism, and democratic socialism does not support the abolition of private property. It is.
He literally said he wants to seize the means of production. He said he wants to seize housing. I don't care what label he puts himself. If that dude was born with a penis and he calls himself a woman, now I have to live his worldview. He identifies as not gay and retarded, actually. You've got to stop, man.
He's not saying that there's no democratic elections. Many of the kind of
He literally said abolition of private housing.
Man references that are made to socialism don't apply to Mamdani's vision or his self-identification any more than it does to AOC or any more than it does to Bernie Sanders. I think one of the things we've learned in the last few years is that Democrats have played it far too safe.
They're killing us. Played it too safe, man. What are we talking about, dude? What are we? Played it too safe. They are literally killing us and celebrating, and killing us and celebrating again. I don't even know what to say, man. I made this tweet, and I think it's real. Trump was almost assassinated, and the leftists were sad the shooter missed. Luigi Mangione murdered a man in cold blood, became a hero. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and leftists celebrated his murder. Virginia Attorney General candidate fantasized about murdering conservatives and their little fascist children to receive waves of support and no condemnation. Zohran Mamdani allies himself with terrorists and became the mayor of New York City. Activist judges are releasing violent repeat offenders and rioters that assault police officers from prisons. They want to kill you, not just on the fringe. It is the mainstream winning strategy. Plan accordingly. And I got death threats for that tweet. Isn't that hilarious? Isn't that hilarious? I called them out for wanting to kill us, and then I get death threats.
Speaking to people's needs. They're not speaking to people's interests. Speaking to the fact that people need the rent to stay stable, that they need access to...
I'm going to say something not nice, because to be honest, the rent situation is a nightmare. They could leave New York. Right? They could literally leave New York. There are so many cheaper places to live in the United States. There are so many options. You could leave New York. That's one. Two, you could get a job. You really could. I know that the average salary is like, 40, 50,000, whatever. But the reality is it doesn't have to be. Did you know that the average person that leaves college is in debt? The average Gen Z guy that leaves college is over $100,000 in debt. The average person in that age range. Why? You're $100,000 in debt so you can get a degree in underwater surprise butt sex in South Dakota? What are we talking about? Literally, what are you talking about?
Food, clothing, and shelter. That's what Mamdani is doing. And if for some reason he were not to be successful and didn't have a great mayoral administration, I don't think it would be fair to say that I see that as a referendum on his ideology any more than all the other unsuccessful mayors and governors around the country or presidents around the country and the world who have had unsuccessful campaigns as capitalists and imperialists and fascists. We don't say, oh, maybe we should try something different. Sometimes it's about changing the driver, and sometimes it's about changing the direction. What we saw in New York last night was that
Did this dude literally just decide to puff up his chest and say that it's not his fault if he fails? How could you take these people seriously? It's not his fault if he fails.
Democrats want to do both. They wanted new leadership, but they also want a new vision. And I think that that's something that Democrats should follow, because the way they've been working so far has not been working.
Okay, literally, the thing that I would be concerned about if I was Donald Trump and the Republicans is that the running theme behind all the successes the Democrats have.
It's cool that he has a Palestine flag on his shirt and he's calling Trump a fascist when, you know, the Palestinians in Gaza literally elected Hamas, who execute gay people and execute their own people and starve their own people if they disagree with them, or, you know, stuff like it. It is funny to me.
Last night was affordability. And there's no doubt the cost of living crisis coming out of the pandemic, inflation continuing. Trump can claim some wins in bringing some prices down, others not so good. But this ongoing running sore of the standard of living for people in the bottom bracket of society in America is not going away. You know, people feel angry enough now to vote for people who they think are going to tackle as a priority affordability. It's been very striking to me that Mamdani, he doesn't want to get involved much in foreign affairs. He wants to focus specifically on the ability of really impoverished New Yorkers who can't afford their groceries, who can't afford to rent a home, and so on.
Does he care about that, or does he just use that as a ploy to get their attention when in reality he wants something far more nefarious? Who knows?
That has been something that's resonated. There's no doubt about that.
Mark, respectfully, it's great to be here with you, but I gotta address some of the claims that you made. This guy literally said he wants to seize the means of production, okay? We're not slapping a communist label on him just for our shits and giggles. He literally said this himself. As someone who has fundraised for Democrats, who's been in the game for a very long time, I can tell you that politicians at a high level, they vet every single person in the room. You better believe that no random person can just take a photo with Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. We vetted them. Someone actually who owed $40,000 to the IRS was booted out of the room because they didn't want him to be seen with Joe Biden, okay? So this is not just, this is very intentional.
Yeah, I can't believe that guy even tried to use that as an argument. Like, I still can't believe this guy even tried to use that as an argument. Yeah, he took a picture with the co-conspirator of a bombing, but, like, he takes pictures with lots of people, actually. Oh, wow.
As far for you to say, oh, it was just some random dude who showed up, and not only did he take a photo with him, he decided to compliment him. That was a conscious decision. But Pierce, going back to what you said, he did a good job of
It's because he supports terrorism. That's actually why.
Campaigning on affordability, yes. But I also want to remind folks that we were heading in the right direction, so much so that Jerome Powell decided to lower interest rates not once but twice. So it takes a long time to bounce back from the mess that Joe Biden got us in, but we are moving in the right direction. And frankly, I know, Vinny, I love you to death, babe. I know you're upset about this, but I think this is the biggest gift for Republicans that we could...
Honestly, I think she's kind of on point. I said the same thing. There's a silver lining here. Yeah, New York is going to become a shithole and the rape rate is probably going to double, but this is going to radicalize some motherfuckers. It's going to wake some people up.
Possibly hope for, because...
Like, a lot of Americans are not willing to look at what's happening in England and realize we're just a couple years away. We're a decade away from England to happen to us. People don't want to pay attention, but now people are going to have to.
Honestly, Marxist Mamdani, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, these people being the face of the Democratic Party is exactly what I want to run on going into 2026.
Damn.
Okay, I want to just hold. Let me just hold the panel there. Let me hold the panel for a moment.
Yeah, because
I'm going to come back to the panel in a moment. I want to just bring in Frank Luntz, the pollster extraordinaire. Frank, your take on last night. I thought it was a very interesting set of results. Obviously, overall, a good night for the Democrats, but pulling in two very, very different directions. Moderate and then the socialist in New York.
The race to me, that was by far the most important, didn't even feature a candidate. It was the ballot initiative in California, which some of your audience won't know much about, but that's going to allow the Democrats to completely rewrite the borders, the districts, the lines that'll determine which voters vote in which areas. And that's going to give the Democrats 5 or maybe even 6 additional House seats. 50. Now, Republicans had done it before in Texas. Democrats had a really bright, smart usage of language on the ballot to help them win that race, but it wasn't even close. And Piers, that shift may well determine who controls Congress in 2026, and that's going to change history as we know it. That was the most significant race. I know it doesn't get the kind of yelling or kind of passion
he's right.
that the New York mayoral race does, but I'm telling you that the California voters have absolutely changed, have uprooted what was going to happen in America, and that's going to be the big story that we're going to be talking about for months and even for years.
Damn.
Yeah, really, really interesting. And I don't disagree with you at all. It's a seismic thing that happened in California. But on the point about the direction of the Democrat Party, Mamdani is now the standout superstar of the party. And he's come from nowhere. And he's like this incredible...
No, that's not true. He came from Uganda, actually. That's where he came from.
Be charismatic.
They eat rice with their bare hands there.
Watch this speech.
They shovel it into their mouth like slop. It's pretty good and awesome.
Last night, he's taking it to Trump and so on. You know, I can see a lot of young Democrats in particular cheering him on, thinking this is great. But his politics...
Yeah, because they're retarded.
Are very, very different. For example, to somebody like Abigail Spanberger, who won in Virginia. Which way is the party going to go? Which is more electable? Can you win a general election in America, do you think, if you are a self-declared socialist?
Absolutely not. And the party's going in both directions.
Damn.
And the progressives
I mean, to be fair, the right is also splitting. Like, we're really moving into a really weird time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the two-party system in America might actually crumble. The two-party system is on the edge of destruction.
Great win yesterday, and a significant win. And they finally have a spokesman who's incredibly articulate and powerful. And that helps the Bernie Sanders AOC wing of the party. The one who's probably most upset this morning is Chuck Schumer, because his Democratic Party is disappearing. On the Republican side, the party is no longer the party of Ronald Reagan. It's all about Donald Trump and his accolades. Both parties are moving in those directions away from the center. And in the end, there are going to be more and more Americans who look at both Republicans and Democrats and say, I can't vote for any of you. But Piers, you know I've been on this now for several years.
Yep.
I think the loser last night isn't the Republican Party. It's actually the American people, because I see both parties rejecting the center, both parties rejecting a common sense approach and moving in these ideological directions. That does fire people up.
I don't know, man. I think Trump needs to sit tight and become even more radical. He needs to get up there and be like, we are deporting fucking everyone. That's right. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're an abuela. You're here illegally, you're out. Everyone that tries to stop the police officer, jail. Every communist that tries to influence us with communist propaganda, denaturalized and deported. I want to see the law followed 100%. That's what I want. I want 100% brutal, completely legal law and order. So Zohran Mamdani, if you radicalize Trump, I will thank you forever.
It does excite younger people and excite people on the fringes. But in the end, there's so many Americans who believe that our democracy is not working anymore, as they do in the UK. And they believe that they're looking for someone with common sense, someone who is a centrist. And this is not necessarily where I stand. This is where the American people stand.
I think he's not wrong that this is where a lot of the American people stand. The reality, though, is I don't think that this is a solution because you have one party that's trying to do the status quo. The right is really trying to status quo this shit. You know, close the border, deport the illegals, not really deal with, like, you know, arresting judges and whatever. And then you get the other party that literally is trying to steal democracy by opening the borders, flooding our country with millions of illegals that will steal every election for the rest of time. So it's, in my opinion, not a fair fight. And Trump needs to step up this game. All right, activist judges that are releasing criminals, disbarred immediately. What are you doing?
And they don't see anyone who's speaking for them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Do you see anybody on...
And again, people like mentioning Nick Fuentes in chat and stuff because he says like the Hail Hitler stuff. I personally, if I walk out of my door one day and I am murdered, and I am assassinated, it will be by a leftist before it will be by a groiper. And it's not even remotely close. And it will not be the fucking groipers celebrating my murder. It will be the leftists. Just to kind of make this clear, where we're standing in society. And it's really not even a controversial statement to say that.
The horizon for the Democrats, for example, that would fit that bill, a sort of a new Bill Clinton-y figure?
Absolutely. Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey, Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, Mitch Landrieu, the former mayor of New Orleans. These are people who focus on getting stuff done. Booker was formerly the mayor of Newark, turned that city around. And they have a record of accomplishment, a record of results, which is what the American people are looking for. And they practice accountability in what they do. They're not focused on Washington. They're not ideological. They would not come on this show and yell at each other. They would come to listen, learn, and lead. 3 Democrats that can make a difference. I'm going to repeat this so people check them out. Go on to YouTube to see their speeches. Go to Wikipedia to see their backgrounds. Cory Booker, New Jersey. Wes Moore, Maryland. And Mitch Landrieu, Louisiana.
Yeah, these guys suck. None of them have a chance. Like, it's really nice that he's trying his best to promote these guys. None of them have any prayer. None of them are going to become recognized. Speaking of Cory Booker, he was absolutely humiliated a few days ago. And I'm going to show it to you, because fuck that guy.
I'll be working every day to ensure Jay wins this race. That's the endorsement of Senator Booker for a man who would seek to be the Attorney General of Virginia.
My buddy from the Daily Wire, Michael Knowles, was called to the Capitol to testify about politically motivated violence. And here he is with some wise words for Cory Booker, a man who once didn't urinate for 18 hours.
I think Senator Booker made a good point just a moment ago when he said we have to self-examine, we have to be introspective. And, I can't help but think of a line today. Jay Jones has the vision, commitment, and integrity to keep families safe and make sure every Virginian gets a fair shake in the justice system. I'll be working every day to ensure Jay wins this race. That's the endorsement of Senator Booker for a man who would seek to be the Attorney General of Virginia. This is a man who, if people have not been reading the news, has called for a Republican to be murdered, for his children to be murdered, for the children to die in their mother's arms in order to persuade the Republican to change his policy views, and a man who says that he would urinate on the graves of multiple Republicans. Senator Booker, in this spirit of introspection, is standing by this endorsement. So I suppose I would invite, perhaps I should have looked, because Senator Booker has left the room, and I think I can guess why.
Diabolical.
I mean, Knowles really has become
Is that not insane?
Eloquent.
Is that not absolutely insane? Is that not just utter insanity? He calls out Senator Booker, and Senator Booker gets up and leaves the room so he doesn't have to address the fact that he endorsed a guy fantasizing about murdering Republican babies? Unbelievable. Just absolute insanity, dude.
Incredible leaders focused on results. And I know I sound like a Democrat, but I know that's what the American people are looking for right now.
Putting your predictive hat on, take me forward to the midterms and then the general election. So 2026 first, then 2028. As things stand, what do you think is going to happen in both?
I've studied this. I know what history says, and history says the Democrats are going to win the House races, maybe not the Senate, because the majority is too much in favor of the Republicans. But after last night in California voting the way that it did, if I were a betting man, I'd bet on the Democrats winning the House very narrowly, Republicans keeping the Senate very narrowly, and the country once again going at each other. And we're going to have the most amazing election in 2028. If you were entertained by 2020 and a little bit scared.
The 2028 election is going to change the course of the country forever. It really will.
About 2024, 2028 is going to be like The Godfather 2. It's going to be even better than what we saw in terms of competitiveness. My concern is whether or not it's better in terms of bringing voters back in, having them have faith, trust, and confidence in the American political system. Because in the end, Pierce, ratings don't matter. I know they do for you. They don't matter for America. Money doesn't matter. Happiness matters. Success matters. Trust.
Oh, this guy's kind of cringe, not gonna lie.
Trust and confidence in the system of government. Our patriotism matters, and our country matters. And I'm hoping that we will put people, truly, not a slogan, put people above politics in the years to come.
Yeah, no one's gonna do that. That's like you're living in a fantasy. That's not happening. JD Vance is gonna win the next election, though.
And frankly, do you expect Donald Trump to try and change the rules so he can run again in 2028? Or is he just trolling the libs, as he would put it?
It's going to be Vance.
I fully expect him to talk about it. I fully expect him not to do it. It is so clear what needs to be done, and there isn't enough time to get it done, but he wants to stay relevant. And I know that you and I have had these conversations now for about 10, 15 years. I know I sound different than what I used to, but we're in a different situation than what we used to be in. And I would hope that the president would acknowledge that things are very difficult for a lot of people, that they're challenged. The Democrat on your show who talked about affordability, and Piers, that's your message. That is absolutely correct. If you can't afford your home, you can't afford your health care.
He is right.
If you can't even afford your fuel or your food, you're in trouble. And we need these people working together for all of us so that this affordability is addressed, this confidence is restored, and in the end, we have the country and the system that we deserve.
Frank Luntz, brilliant to have you on after such a big night for American politics. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Biden. You killed us. Good stuff, as always. This dude really thinks we're going to kumbaya our way out of this when leftists are literally murdering people on the right and everyone's celebrating? Do you really think we're going to kumbaya out of this when trans Tifa is fucking murdering us? Like, it's insane. Like, it definitely sounds nice, but, like, come on, dude. Wake up.
I think he's recognizing that Republicans have a real problem. Donald Trump campaigned successfully on the problem of affordability, the price of eggs, the price of other staples, but has come to office, and what has he done? He's cut Medicaid. He's now presiding over a government shutdown in which 40...
He hasn't cut Medicaid. He's literally stopped Medicaid for illegals and fraudsters. These people just lie. 2
million people who need SNAP benefits to get food are being denied.
The SNAP benefits thing was literally because the Democrats shut down the government. Like, it is unbearable watching these people lie. It's unbearable. Like, thou shalt not tell false witness. Is there any of the 10 commandments that these guys don't violate? Any of the 10?
Hide it because of his party's refusal to extend healthcare subsidies for millions.
Literally, the Democrats voted to shut down the government 13 times in a row. 13 times in a row. And then they go out and blame Trump. You've got to stop. This is retarded.
People. And what is he offering people that who he promised that he'd make America great again? Nothing. He just recently...
Well, that's actually not true. If he deports all the illegals, America would be a lot greater.
Bragged about how he's redecorating the White House, built a new bathroom. How does that help average people? And that's the fundamental problem. Trump successfully tapped into real discontent. I'll give him credit for that. He tapped into real outrage over Democratic Party elite failures.
It's 14 times now, my chat's telling me, not 13.
But now you have someone in the face of Zohran Mamdani and his grassroots movement actually talking about the issue of affordability while presenting concrete proposals. And I think
there are no concrete proposals. Who is this guy? This dude literally wants some fucking communist cock down his throat. This is unbearable. He hasn't said a single truth.
Frank Luntz is very correct to recognize that for Republicans, who are the current party in power, they control the White House and both chambers of Congress, that this is a real problem for them. And by the way, also, Piers, if I may, on this issue of this pastor who keeps coming up, this Muslim leader who Zohran Mamdani took a photo with, again, if you look at the specifics of that case, he was an unindicted co-conspirator, former terrorism prosecutor, later criticized his inclusion in a list in that case because basically some of the suspects in the World Trade Center bombing attended his mosque around the time of the bombing. So that's like basically
wow, this is the hill you choose to die on. You are still apologizing to this guy.
Leftists, ladies and gentlemen, they will die on the hill of defending the co-conspirators of bombings.
That's like, excuse my Senate. I'll finish my Senate. I'll finish my sentence. That's like, excuse me, I'll finish. I didn't interrupt you. I'll finish my sentence. That's like blaming the pastor of George W. Bush's church for the Iraq War. And these are the smears of people who can't contend with.
Oh my God. You cannot be serious. Dude, they're in. Look, I don't want to sound Islamophobic here or anything, but these dudes literally work together on this shit. You've got to stop. Like, I'm sorry, man. Wake the fuck up.
The fact that you have a candidate in Zohran Mamdani who has grassroots support, record turnout.
For the record, the reason why I don't want to sound Islamophobic is because I don't want Zohran Mamdani's aunt to watch this and get offended. But holy leap, bro.
Standing people on the issues that impact their lives.
I think there's even...
Co-conspirator meaning they can't prove that he was in the room, but he was in the room.
No, they can't prove that. It's a red herring. Give it up.
Bro, are you literally trying to stick up? Are you really trying to stick up for this guy? Are you really trying to stick up for this guy? And Piers, you're
respected.
Yes, I am. And so is my wife's boyfriend.
So you do anything wrong. Yes, I am.
This is the soy crash out I needed today.
Yes, I am. We're desperately trying.
I'm very desperate. Piers, mind you, on Sunday, Mamdani was in a gay club, in a gay club, pandering to the gay people to try to get votes. And let me explain something to you. People were like,
what do you mean pandering?
He also, by the way, pandered with the person that promoted the execution of homosexuals in Sudan, was it? Or Uganda? I don't even remember, man. Somewhere. He was literally collabing with, I showed this in my Zohran video. He was out there, you know, collabing with gay people to get the gay vote. And then he went out there with the Uganda lady. To the Uganda lady, that is the one that promoted the execution of gay people.
He's what do you Muslim, mean? Right?
What do you mean pandering to gay people?
He was trying to campaign. Because right now, because there's something, okay, you know where he's from? Uganda. Do you know how Uganda treats gay people?
True.
Have you been to Uganda? Yes. Have you heard what Ugandans do?
Is Zohran responsible for
he's a Muslim dude from there.
This is what I'm talking about.
Dude, I wish that Vinny over here would hit a little bit harder. He campaigned with the Ugandan lady that introduced the death penalty for gay people. That is another level.
What he's practicing, Piers, what he's practicing is called taqiyya, okay? It's a practice in Islam, all right, Piers, that you deceive and you lie about stuff just to have people to further your agenda.
True.
You're being
hang on, Vinny, hang on. Just because he's from Uganda doesn't mean he agrees with all the policies of Uganda.
I hate these frauds, man. They're all idiots. Why do I, the blue retard, have to be the one to do the research? The research. Why do I have to be the one to do the research for this? This is Zohran Mamdani campaigning with the lady who made being gay punishable by death in Uganda. Okay? This is Zohran Mamdani campaigning in a gay club. So yes, if you're gonna spend 1 minute campaigning in a gay club and then another minute campaigning with the lady who introduced the death penalty to gay people, yeah, that makes you a snake, obviously.
Ugandan governments.
He's Muslim, Piers. He's Muslim. He's Muslim. How do Muslim people feel towards gays? Are you guys lost? Are you lost?
Well, there are many Muslims who have no problem with gays.
That's Muslim, bro. That's a Muslim.
Yeah, but there are many Muslims.
I wish that he would argue this better. I really do. I wish he would argue it better.
There's a couple of facts here because this is all really.
Hang on. Let me bring in Mark. Let me bring in Mark and then Lindy. Mark.
Okay, a couple of things just to inject some facts. One, taqiyya isn't about lying. And taqiyya is about concealing your faith as Muslim to get over the whole, ostensibly in times of danger. At no point.
He's defending taqiyya. Taqiyya is about manipulating people that are non-Muslims. There's no way.
Has Mamdani pretended not to be Muslim? If he had, you wouldn't be here arguing like this. Second, yes, let me finish. Second, yes, he's from where Muslims, where gay people often are harassed and killed, and there are anti-gay policies in Uganda. You know who they're organized by? Christians, not Muslims. If you just Google or read one book on Uganda, you'd understand that this is a Christian practice, not a Muslim practice. Third, when we talk about Siraj Wahaj, who's the imam who he was in the photo with, there's absolutely no evidence that he was in the room with 9/11 conspirators. That's not even being alleged by the prosecutors.
We're not even talking about 9/11. We're talking about the bombing. Two different things.
Please allow me to finish.
What I'm saying is World Trade number one.
Please allow me to finish.
You're not even getting the timeline right.
I accidentally said that as opposed to World Trade Center. That's not the point. I concede. I said the wrong word. Now I'm going to replace the wrong word with the right word, which is World Trade Center. The point still is the prosecutors don't allege that Wahaj was in the room. So there's no evidence of that, even by the people who you're appealing to for evidence. Wahaj took a picture. A better comparable example would be when Donald Trump takes a picture with Joey Merlino, the convicted mob boss, right? He did it because he didn't know who Joey Merlino was. Wahaj.
No, but this dude, he knew what he was. Like, why are we doing this? Stop panicking, bro. Why are these guys running defense for terrorists? Is that just the new mainstay of the Democratic Party? Is the new mainstay of the Democrats just literally running defense for terrorists? Like, bro, you've got to stop.
All right, Mark.
Who is not a terrorist, was an acclaimed imam and celebrated in Brooklyn for his acts in the community, and that's what he was being punished for.
Time out.
What does
guys,
hang on.
I think we've discussed this particular part of the Mamdani story enough.
There's so many parts to it too. It's him supporting globalizing the Intifada. All right, it's him collabing with Hasan Piker when you hear what he supports and what he says constantly. It's this Siraj Wahaj guy. It's the England situation. A lot of people don't even talk about this because there's so many. I think this one, by the way, is one of the most damning because he directly said it. This isn't just him being around someone. This is direct support. Let me see if I can find this because it's one of the most evil things ever. Yeah, right here. I wish these people were more on top of this. Well, why do you need the blue retard? The next potential mayor of New York, he is now the mayor, shared an article questioning whether the Islamist beheading of a British soldier in England was terrorism. Important, whether the London killing of a British soldier was terrorism, where he makes the argument that actually this guy, this radical Muslim, beheading a British soldier in England was actually not terrorism, a Queen's Guard. All right? This dude flirts with terrorism constantly, and it's more than flirting. And you're being disingenuous if you think that's not true. That was years ago? Yeah, he's been supporting terrorism for years.
Here's the thing that I find extraordinary, and it's this, Lindy, which is he's on record, Mamdani, as wanting to defund the New York.
Yes, thank you, Pierce.
And calling them a bunch of racists. I would have thought, I mean, call me old-fashioned, but anybody that literally posted that the racist NYPD should be defunded, that would be disqualifying to be mayor of New York. And yet here he is, mayor of New York.
Why would that be disqualifying?
Pierce,
why would that be disqualifying?
I don't know. Looks like this guy's sticking up for the 13%.
So you should defund the NYPD.
Absolutely.
What's the answer to the question?
Mark, it's my turn.
Let Lindy go first, and I'll let you respond.
I'm not cutting you off. I'm asking a question.
Please, let me finish. 40% of unsolved murders, this is New York City, the biggest city in the country, and 40% of murders have been unsolved. And he wants to defund the police? Yeah, okay. And then according to some studies, 25% of New York, they want to flee because of his policies, okay? He's on a good way to hell. And another thing is, Mark, I felt like I was talking to...
and it's actually the successful people that want to leave. It's not the bottom feeders of society.
What's his name? Frank Luntz? I felt like I was listening to a new age therapist. Like, is he crazy? He wants to put forward people like Wes Moore and Cory Booker. Let's go through his people. Like, for example, Cory Booker tried the presidential campaign thing already. He was polling at 1 to 2%. Okay, so we already tried that. The trial balloon failed. Number 2, Wes Moore, he lied about getting a Bronze Star. These are the people that Frank Luntz wants to be the face of the Democratic Party? Then please, sounds good to me. And then he talks about the importance of Prop 50. Yes, it's important, but I also think it's a gift to Republicans because in this case, it allows Republicans to tie Gavin Newsom's failed policies to him. There's no way to disentangle the two. We are now able to tie $7 per gallon gas to Gavin Newsom. We can tie homeless encampments all across the state to Gavin Newsom. And you know what, Gavin Newsom, this is all about him running for 2028. This wasn't about the people of California. This was
it may be. Hang on, don't talk. Hang on. Okay, I'll come to you, Mark, in a moment. But Vinny, I did find, Mark was asking me, well, what's wrong with saying defund the NYPD? I think a lot. If somebody was running for mayor of London on a ticket of defund the Metropolitan Police, I would think that's completely disqualifying.
Yeah, because you're white. You know who hates the police? You know who wants to abolish the prisons? It's the people that statistically are mostly committing the crimes and are in the prisons. It's mostly illegal immigrants, or immigrants that aren't willing to integrate, or etc., etc. You absolute cuck. Why are you not acknowledging the problem? The real problem here. You've got to stop this.
Right? What is you brand? Well, hang on, Mark. I'll come back to you.
Hold on, Mark. He asked me a question, Mark. What are you talking about, bro? You're the mayor of the city, and you're saying to defund the police department, and you don't think that's some crazy outlandish ish to say?
Actually, not
and just
saying,
to tell you, and when I tell you,
these people are retarded.
Listen,
he did say
Aaron.
Not during the campaign.
Aaron, your job
not during the campaign, but it is on his record.
Every single lie.
Yes, but let him finish.
And let me explain something, Pierce.
This is the good crash out, man.
Pierce, a couple of
the proper term, Nux, is criminals. Yeah, criminals.
Lies. He hates billionaires, right? Who funded his campaign?
Soros.
There
we go.
Okay, he lied about defunding the police. He said he took that back. He lied about his aunt wearing a hijab on the subway. She wasn't his aunt, and she wasn't in New York City. Hold on. And he wants to legalize prostitution. And he wants to legalize prostitution. Or am I lying about that? You have to. Your narrative has to stick it. You have to, because you're full of it, bro. And last thing, I'll give you the floor. Lindy nailed it. Cory Booker, Wes, hold on. I'll give you the floor. Give me 10 seconds. Piers, you heard Frank Luntz, and Lindy's right. They want to name all these Democrats. What's the first order of business that Newsom, Cory Booker, Westworld are all going to do? Number one, they're going to open up the border because they love illegals. Okay, that's going to be number one. So every American that's watching this, don't get it twisted. Okay, the moment a Democrat comes into power, the border's wide open. What are you going to do? Nothing. Because nobody in your family's getting freaking touched by it.
All right, so everyone's getting touched by it. They're gonna take over the country, not just purely due to violence. They're gonna outvote the natives. I mean, that's I think part of it. Part of it is that taxes become impossible. The job market becomes impossible, and also the reality is we're never gonna win another election. If we would have had another 4 years of Biden, we would have never had another election in America.
Wait, don't shout at once. Hang on. Don't. If you all talk, no one can hear any of you. Mark Lamont Hill, the floor is yours.
Thank you. What I'm disputing here is how we're defining, or very interestingly, not defining defunding. You all are saying defunding and laying it out there, as many people have, which would suggest that he's saying, let's get rid of the police department and take care of and get rid of all of its resources, that we're just going to fire the police, which is not what he's saying. If he were saying that, that probably would be disqualifying to be mayor.
So what does defund mean? Please tell us. Tell us what defund means, sir.
Defunding means is taking money out of the police department.
So it is taking away their resources. Oh, okay. Replacing the police officer with social workers. That's right. If someone's beating their wife and you call the police, they're not going to come. They'll send a social worker to your house immediately.
And placing it in other departments where that work could be done. So when you give the example of, let me finish.
Yeah, that's not defunding. That's called redistributing. It's a different word.
So when you give the example of
everyone's like, what? Like, that's not even what the word means. When I say defund, what I really mean is hire people in different positions. No, actually.
Murders. When you give the example of unsolved murders, defunding does not affect unsolved murders in that way. In fact, to the contrary, it would help to solve murders, and I'll tell you how.
It'll help. Defunding the police will help solve murders, ladies and gentlemen.
When police come out right now, and I'm only telling you this as someone who's written several books on this and has been part of the defunding movement for a decade, so you can shake your head.
Oh, he's been part of the defunding movement for a decade. Nice. This dude's retarded.
But I'm only giving you facts. You can disagree with my approach, but I'm telling you what the actual defunding movement is. When we say defunding, what we're talking about is saying, right now, if someone has a drug overdose or someone has a mental health crisis, the police get sent out there. When someone is jaywalking, the police have to stop them and give them a ticket in many cities. We're using the police as tax collectors.
He thinks that in the police station, they're sending people out to find jaywalkers. This isn't real. Like, this is only if a police happens to see someone jaywalking, and they usually ignore it anyway. Bro's like, I wrote a book, so now I'm gonna make up reality and you have to listen?
As therapists and as counselors. Defunding says...
The police are not therapists and counselors. You're retarded, bro. What are you talking about?
Let's take some of those resources that we're making the police do for jobs that they shouldn't be doing, and let's give them to therapists, to social workers, to drug treatment counselors, and let the police focus on...
If you beat your wife, call a social worker. She'll help. Or better yet, follow the tenets of Islam and beat your wife more. That's the other option, I guess, in New York. It's getting good. It's getting good.
I don't know, policing. And so defunding
but he also, Mark, hang on. Mark, he also called hang on.
Bro, this dude never watched the body cam footage. I've seen body cam footage, all right? I've seen body cam footage. George Floyd needed a police officer. No amount of fat-ass social workers were going to stop George Floyd. That dude was resisting arrest. You needed a police for that. I mean, it's tragic that he passed away, but you need a police to stop him, man. What are you getting? A social worker, bro? Are you kidding me? That dude was violent as fuck.
If you disagree with it.
I understand. No, I listened to you. You had the floor. But he also called the NYPD a racist organization. Racist.
Also, he said queer liberation.
No, hang on, Lindy. Hang on. It's much easier if everyone answers the questions I pose to them. So let me just ask Mark. Mark, do you believe the NYPD is racist?
Yes!
Oh my god, dude, we're still living in 2020. There is no way, bro. Dude, he is not doing well, bro. Black guy refuses, black guy condemns the police. Bro, you are not doing good here, brother. You're not doing well for your people. What am I looking at? Oh my god, this is crazy.
All of them.
Oh god. There it is.
No.
There it is. This guy's a retard. Radical retard. I'm telling you. And you know who runs on the same policy as this guy? Zohran Mamdani. Everyone that criticizes him must be Islamophobic. That's right. He ran on the same identity politics fucking bullshit. The same exact crap all over again. And people ate it. And that's why all of the minorities voted for him. All the immigrants came together to get this guy to win.
You just moved the goalpost. No, hold on.
No, I didn't. They're all racist.
No, hold on. You asked me if the department was the institution, and then you just said all of them as in individuals. Do I think every police officer is racist? Of course not. But we're talking about systemic racism. It's just like saying the school system sucks. It doesn't mean every teacher sucks, but the system itself doesn't work.
How is the system racist? Dude, when you say the school system sucks, it means that let's say the curriculum is bad, okay? When you say that the system of police sucks, they don't arrest black people that don't commit crimes, all right? You probably don't want to hear this because more black people get arrested than white people per capita, but more black people commit crimes than white people per capita. All right, that's just a fact, whether you like it or not. Like, you're not going to hit me with the laws are racist.
Crime does not make you racist.
I agree, but shooting unarmed black people does.
Do you know why the Black Lives Matter movement died over the last couple of years? It's because we have body cams now. And because it turns out all of these examples of shooting random unarmed black people, turns out none of it's actually happening, it seems. It turns out it's not really a thing.
Let me bring in Aaron. 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 Let me bring in other things. Let me bring in Aaron.
Attack that, or you can address what he said.
Let me bring in Aaron.
Crime is up 30% in New York City.
I'm going to bring in Aaron if it kills me. So let me bring in Aaron.
You can't die, Pierce.
Here's my problem with Mamdani and why I call him a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm always very distrusting of politicians who post this kind of stuff 3-4 years ago, but now want us to believe that's not their real opinion. I think that is what he genuinely feels about the NYPD. And by the way, he's allowed to. We live in a free country. He can express that view, and I believe it was honestly held. But this sudden transformation to, oh no, I don't think the NYPD is racist. Oh no, I don't think that they should be defunded and so on. It's just a little bit too close to when he did believe that for me to think this guy is a serious person. You know, his views haven't changed in 3 years.
He's a giant snake virtue signaler. All right, he'll go whatever it says. Like I don't like. Why are you? I get so demoralized when I watch Pierce because people are like, "Oh, he's centrist, he's rational." Then he just says the most like retarded shit ever.
His desire for power has, Aaron.
Sure, yeah. I mean, people will sometimes say things to get elected. That's called being a politician. It's part of the job. And I don't know what's inside his head. I don't know what his views are. But there's plenty of evidence, as Mark laid out, for why one would think that the NYPD is a racist institution.
Dude, I can't believe people still think this. I thought this was totally squashed. But it's shocking.
Not saying every single police officer, but institutionally is.
Oh my God.
And so I understand why he would think that.
It's literally not. This is unbearable.
The issue of policy, defunding the police, Mark laid out what that means. Mamdani wants to create a Department of Community Safety, promoting community-based solutions to problems that can be handled.
Community-based solutions. That's right. If you're beating your wife and you call the police, we'll send over the nearest social worker immediately.
By people in the community, which is proven. There's a scholarship on this about how these solutions work.
It's proven by a scholarship, guys.
Do it. And it has support among the majority of New York City council, so it's not even a radical thing. And yeah, listen, I'm sure Mamdani is being pragmatic in some ways. It's called being a politician. You have to make compromises sometimes. But the bottom line is this. He centered the issue of affordability. He spoke to issues that nobody else was talking about. He sent a message of hope across the country to people who are feeling left out of politics. And look what happened in New York City. He got more than 100,000 people to turn out for him, to volunteer, to knock on doors. So people feel connected to his message. People feel that he stands.
Bro, am I tripping, or are these people all hyper-feminized retards? Why is he good to get elected? Because people feel connected to him. People feel so connected. His policies are stupid and retarded, but people feel connected.
By his convictions, and he got a record turnout, almost double the number of voters turned out in this election than did 4 years ago.
But only 51% voted. Only 51% voted for him, and a large number of people voted for the other Democrat.
Only the majority.
Candidate. Well, no, enough to win.
Bro, more people voted for Kamala Harris than voted for Zohran Mamdani. Okay. and she was the worst candidate in the history of America.
Wait a minute, Lindy, don't start shouting. Enough to win, but but pretty close with the other Democrat candidate, who is the kind of antithesis on the Democrat side of everything Mamdani stands for, which comes back, I think, to the original point I was making. It could be a very great night for Mamdani, unquestionably, a great night for the progressive left wing of the Democratic Party. But actually, if he turns out to be a dud, as we've seen in the UK with Keir Starmer's Labour Party, and he can't deliver on the promises, and he ends up just taxing the hell out of everybody, if that happens, this could become a real millstone around the neck of the Democrats leading into the midterms and then particularly the general election, I think. Lindy.
Well,
I feel like these people are not willing to acknowledge the reality that Zohran Mamdani's plan is not actually about fiscal policy, and it's much more about importing infinite people to conquer New York and turn New York into a forever immigrant state. That is the plan of Zohran Mamdani. He wants to protect the immigrants, import more, and they'll keep voting for him forever because, you know, he's literally importing his voters because they're obviously going to vote for him forever because he's importing them. And that's the plan. That's the plan. Then yeah, sure, he'll tax the fuck out of everybody. You know why? Because the immigrants, for the most part, are not really the ones that are working as hard as the others. That is being realistic, all right? Being realistic, the guys that are working the hardest in New York are the white guys and the Jews, not the immigrants. So if you tax the fuck out of the rich guys, what you're essentially doing is creating a society where you literally take the money from the white guys and the Jews of New York and you give it to the underclass that you are literally importing and will vote for you forever. That is the strategy. And it's so obvious if you're rational about it and not afraid to be called a racist.
Sure, of course, anything's possible.
President withhold $18 billion. Aaron, I'm talking. President Trump has already promised. He's vowed to withhold $18 billion in federal funding. Governor Hochul has also said she's not going to, go all in all the socialist policies. So where is he going to get his money from? All the billionaires are fleeing. Hundreds of thousands of people might leave New York. Where do you think he's going to get the money to fuel his boondoggle? This is absolutely insane. And this is not us putting.
Yes, and I do. Yeah, look, I get it. Look,
queer liberation means defund the police. And for you to interpret what he said and use a Zohran Mamdani dictionary to put the best light on his words is absolutely shameful. He hates the people. He thinks they're racist.
If you're a member of look, just to remind you, if you're a member of the NYPD, your new mayor 5 years ago said the NYPD were racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety and called to defund you. In 2023, just 2 years ago, at the Democrat Socialists of America's convention, Mamdani said, we have to make clear that when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF. Vinny, your final thought on that.
That was 100% correct. He's referring to the fact that
by the Israeli military. Piers, I don't know about you. You're in New York, Piers. I'm from New York, and there's nothing that makes me happy. You know what makes me comfortable, Piers? That if I'm getting stabbed or burned to death on the subway, I want a social worker to come and just calm the murderer down. Okay? If you never lived in New York and you've never been on a subway, don't talk to me about crime and cops being racist. They have the hardest freaking jobs.
I've lived in New York 20 years.
And look at the stats about how racist they are. And what are the stats? What are the odds? Give me the percentage of a cop shooting an unarmed black person in America. What's the number? It's so outlandish that it's such a big thing that they're racist. Give me a break. You guys are all being duped by Mamdani, but I love what Lindy said. Lindy, I'm actually...
He's right. He's completely right. They're not racist. It's such a fraud situation. Like, do you realize how big the scandal would be if we had footage of a police officer just shooting a random unarmed black guy? Like, do you understand the size of that scandal? The fact that these scandals aren't happening is because it's not happening. It's because the black community is kind of violent, statistically, in the ghettos. I'm not trying to be rude here. It's kind of what it is. 13% of the people are committing over 50% of the violent crimes. So, like, I'm sorry, man. Like, what are we doing?
You're going to adopt that mindset is let them do it, Piers. Let them happen. They're going to freaking feel it. And all the New Yorkers that are leaving, that have all the money, when they're all left and the dust settles, and be like, wait a minute, who's going to pay for all the free shit that Mamdani said? And you guys, they're going to feel the freaking wrath. You'll see it, Pierce.
Well,
You'll
you
see
know,
it.
And it's sad because, you know, most black people obviously aren't violent. It's a minority for sure. But the minority is bigger than the minority of white people. And I think it's because of the social situations where you have people that are not living in nuclear families. The government has absolutely done their absolute best to drive families apart and to incentivize single parenthood. And now, realistically, you have a society of people that are, well, in ghettos, and gang violence is brutal. It is. It really is. That's just a fact. So saying that every time a police does something against a black guy is automatically racist just because it happens to more black people per capita. Well, black people are more violent per capita. That's just the stats, whether you love it or hate it. This, I thought, was incredibly telling.
Well, how are we going to pay for it?
How are we going to pay for it with tax money? With tax dollars.
Okay, where the tax dollars come from?
Tax dollars are coming from all of the billionaires and wealthy people. That
Well, they already pay, the top 1% already pays 50% of all taxes. Yeah.
Can you
IRS data reflects that the top 1% already pays 50% of all taxes. But I ask you, so if you tax the rich to oblivion,
Yes.
what happens when the rich leave the city? Who's to tax then?
They won't leave the city.
Why not? They've already done it in California.
Because in New York State, we have Wall Street. They're not leaving. And so what
You
if
think they can't leave? Then who are you going to tax when they leave?
We're just going to continue taxing people. But your
Oh, the middle class, right?
Yes, actually, the middle class.
Oh, okay, so you explained it. So we're going to tax the shit out of the middle class when the rich people leave after you tax the shit out of them.
I think we should tax the shit out of everybody. Yes, I think that the middle class.
That's right, infinite slave labor for the retard college girls. That's right, baby. Tax the shit out of everybody. Let's just destroy society. Yeah, communism. Woo!
It's interesting. People, hang on, final point. I mean, people are trying to compare this to London, where Sadiq Khan's been mayor now, won 3 terms. Actually, it's the wrong comparison. They happen to both be Muslims, but Sadiq Khan's quite a establishment figure of the Labour Party. Go back to the...
Look at the face this dude made when he said that they happen to both be Muslims. Yeah, they happen to both be Muslims, and they want to import infinite Islam. Yeah, they both say it themselves, obviously.
Start of the century to Red Ken Livingstone, who was a genuine socialist. He presided over London for 8 years, and you know what? It wasn't that bad. London survived. So whatever happens under Mamdani, I suspect, knowing New York as I do and having lived and worked here for 20-odd years, New York will survive whatever Mamdani can throw at it. And if it turns out that he has...
I'm telling you, man, Piers Morgan's such a fraud sometimes. Because London didn't survive Sadiq Khan, in case you were curious. All right? Like, he's focusing a lot more on the socialism part than on anything else. But the reality is, actually, no. Actually, no. This is London. Anyway.
Has the magic touch, and he can make what nobody has done in modern times work, socialism, in New York. Who knows? You might have President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to look forward to in 2028.
God help us.
Help us, God.
You never know. Guys, thank you. Very spirited. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. No, that crash out was legendary. Actual legendary crash out by everybody. No, I think that people are talking past each other here because realistically, no one's willing to actually address the hijab-wearing elephant in the room. All right, no one's willing to address that. Everyone likes to, dance around the very, very obvious core of the issue, which is the invasion issue. Not trying to be cringe here, but that's what it is. The Frogan of the situation, some would even call it. But anyway, thanks for being here. Yeah, I love watching people crash out over this. This is an incredibly polarizing moment. It's a radicalizing moment for everybody. The left is going to be much more incentivized to promote their communist revolution, and the right, I think, is going to be a lot more fighting fire with fire, trying to actually get these deportations in order. God help us. So thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed. I hope you did. I pray to God we survive the next election cycle. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, man.